Go. We will call the Board of Commissioners to order September 5, noting all three commissioners are present. And if you would, join me, stand with me, and I'll lead us in prayer, and then Mr. Stewart will lead us in the pledge after that. Gracious God, Heavenly Father, as we bow in your presence this day, we're asking for your grace and your mercy. You tell us in the word that it endures forever, and we ask that you will continue to lead this people, this group of folks from Grant County. Give wisdom to those who make decisions day and night on behalf of our citizens. And we pray that you will continue to bless our homes, our families, and all that we do. Help us to follow after you. For it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Next up on our agenda, approval of current claims minutes payroll. With regard to claims, we had a pre-approval on August 28th. General batch included $84,174.82. Did I say that right, guys? Okay. Other batch was $78,868.25. Highway batch, $75,346.47 for a grand total, $238,389.54. That, I think, will take care of our pre-approvals. We did do that, so we'll need to ratify that pre-approval.
I'll make a motion to ratify the pre-approval for 8/28/23.
Second.
Motion with support. Any questions or comments on that
No, sir.
group? Okay, all in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. We have today's invoice edit reports. The general batch includes $119,097.27. Other batch, $87,234.30. Highway Department, $62,589.49 for a grand total of $268,921.06. And so we've got the bills in front of us. Hopefully we've got a chance to review them.
I'll make that motion as well to approve 9/5/23.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. Any questions on those bills?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. We had a couple of single pre-approvals dated 8/31 to South Central in the amount of $4,455.87. Again, 8/31 to Elan Financial Services in the amount of $2,205.77. And I did pre-approve those, so we'd need a motion to ratify.
I'll make that motion to ratify that as well.
Second.
All right. Any discussion on those?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Last but not least, payroll number 18. We have a pay date, had a pay date of September 1st, gross amount $580,714.97. And the pre-approval was given on the 30th. And so we need the a ratification of that approval.
I'll make that motion to ratify payroll number 18.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright, to ratify the pre-approval on payroll number 18. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. And next up, we do have some minutes We have a minutes of executive session. We'll probably need to take care of that between the two of us, Mr. Wright. Uh, You want to move that?
I will. I would move that we pass, accept the minutes from the executive board.
All right, and I will second that. Any discussion on those minutes?
I approve, or should I rather, or should I abstain since I wasn't there?
I'll abstain.
Probably abstention is the best. That was discussion of personnel matters, so. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those abstain.
Aye.
Carried 2-1 abstention. We also have regular session minutes of June the 5th. And we have already worked on those editorial things, so if you have any other additions, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Mr. President, I move that we pass the regular session minutes from June 5th, 2023.
And I second Mr. Wright's motion.
All right, we have a motion, Mr. Wright, to accept regular session minutes. Second, Mr. Stewart. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Next, we have a monthly report of the clerk of circuit court. And we just need to receive that. We can do that by common consent if you so desire.
Sounds good to me.
All right, we will accept the month ending 7/31/2023 by common consent. Now moving to communication and board updates. We'll start with the auditor. Anything that we need to? Nothing to update. Other elected officials, special committees, boards, communication directors.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. This morning I come to ask for $6,000 so that we can have our tower sites inspected. Those are required to be inspected every 2 years, and they went up in the spring of 21, and we're now getting to the fall of 23. So those will need to be done. And then to let you know, we did put in the Cradle Point devices for the monitoring stuff. And I do have an estimate for installation of those, and that's $3,247.89. That much I can take care of out of my accounts. But if you guys would be pay the $6,000, that would be great.
And one more time, the 6,000 was for what?
Tower site inspections. So we'll pay MX Solutions to come out and check.
Do that every 2 years, 2 years.
Is that something that we've already pre-contracted, or is that something that, is there somebody else that can do a competitive bid on an inspection, or?
I can try to find somebody. They're the ones that we use to construct the towers. That's who I call them.
Okay. We are under the limit threshold. If it's only $6,000.
And that is for all three sites. It's $2,000 a site.
So we aren't required to do the three. That's kind of something we self-imposed on ourselves to get at least 3 quotes, but
I feel a lot more comfortable. Better use the company that constructed it.
and I'm afraid to ask the question to our county administrator, but we're probably talking contractual services, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have an agreement contract?
We do not. I asked Dean, I talked to him midweek last week and asked him for a proposal in writing. I haven't got that yet. But he did say it would be $2,000 a tower.
We wait until we get that.
I think we wait. I think I want to see the paperwork in hand, make sure that we're happy with the service that we're going to get. Do we have any type of a threshold? We have to say this work has to be done by a certain time.
No, it's just sooner rather than later. It needs to be done this year, though.
Okay. Yeah, if we can get you to bring that quote contract agreement
Okay.
back for review, Just want to make sure that we cover those bases.
I will get it. Thank you.
How long once we give them the okay? Will they come out and do it?
That I'm not sure. He was on his way to a job site when I talked to him last week. So they were pretty busy. So I'll touch base with him and just email you guys and Mr. Stanoff.
I'd like to have the agreement prior so I can run it through legal.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before we check and see if we've got any more reports, I did miss the county treasurer's monthly report, gentlemen. Looks like we have month ending January 31st, February 28th, March 31st, April 30, May 31st, June 30, and July 31st. Any comments? And we technically need to receive that as the executive as well.
And consent for that, if that's what we're doing there.
We can do by consent or by motion. It's the same difference as the clerk of courts as we receive the reports.
I make a motion that we pass the county treasurer's monthly reports for the months of January 31st, February 28th, March 31st, April 30th, May 31st, June 30th, and July 31st.
I'll second that motion.
Motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart. Any questions, comments on treasurer's report? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Any other elected officials, special committee reports? Marcus isn't smiling today. That's good.
Well, I have two items I have to do.
Uh-oh. You're starting to get a poker face then.
Well, yeah, just a little bit.
All right, so I got two items with me today. The first one is more of an update. We're finally ready to go live with the new website, and they're wanting to basically turn it on, have it go live next Tuesday about 9:30 in the morning. So I'm not sure if I wanted to check with you gentlemen to see if that would be okay to proceed with that, or if we need to set up a meeting where you guys can have a look at it. I mean, it looks pretty good to me. It is basically everything we had on the current website, and they put it on the new. And then that way, once it's live, we can go in and, update it and get it to where exactly we need it to be. But it looked pretty good.
See?
Has every department had an opportunity to go ahead and update whatever they want to on their site before we go live, or do you know?
No, I know the sheriff's department, they've been in there updating it. We gave access to Central Dispatch. They've had access to it. Most of the departments, they usually let us and IT update the pages and stuff. But yeah, not everybody has had a chance to look at it yet.
I figure since you're bringing it to us, you're comfortable with it going live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it had everything that the current site has now on it. So if anybody in any of the offices wants to learn it, we can set them up with an account and, show them how to do it then. But most of the departments, they don't really mess with it that much. We just kind of upload documents and stuff to it every once in a while for them. So, yep.
Entirely up to you, gentlemen, how you want to proceed.
Comfortable. Marcus is,
I'll defer to the IT guy.
So are we consenting to go live next Tuesday at 9:30?
yes.
I believe so, yeah.
All right.
All right. So we'll get that done. And the next item is it was brought to our attention that there was a need for 2 cameras for a couple of the offices. to manage their front counter areas. So we got a quote from AppTech, who helped us with the courthouse camera system, and they gave us a quote for 2 indoor cameras, and the quote total was $2,030.80. And that's with 3 years of updates and support and maintenance on them.
Question, will those be monitored?
Yeah, so they can be monitored from anywhere. So it can be monitored on the phone. We can set it up to where they're monitored in the sheriff's department, or where whoever needs to be able to view them, we can set that up. And it also does have the ability to record audio as well, if you gentlemen want that.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
And do you have money in your budget, or do we take that out of our budget?
Well, like I said, my equipment budget's getting low. I do have money in there now. I did just spend some money for the EMS office for some of their equipment. So I'm not exactly sure where I'm at. I think I have 7,000 in there now. I think we spent a couple of grand on them. So I should have money in there, but I'm kind of cutting it close.
We can do it out of CCD equipment.
Okay.
CCD equipment fund, sounds good.
Okay.
That way it gives you some more room.
Right. And with, the floor that we're going to be running it on, we can run the cables and stuff since it's only a couple feet away.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
yep. And Commissioner Wright, was you going to meet with us?
Yes.
And kind
Yes.
of verify the,
That would
okay.
be- do that
Yep.
after this meeting.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we still,
We need
yes.
motion on that to
Yes, we do.
approve the expenditure. I would make a motion that we install the cameras, those departments. The money come out of our contractual services. Right, or,
CCD.
CCD.
That's my motion.
Second. Motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart. Any discussion further? Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye, it is covered.
All right. Yep, that's all I have. Thanks again, gentlemen.
I'm gonna have to figure out another tell for you when you're not smiling now.
I know you guys keep saying it, so now I'm trying to hide it.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah, no problem.
David, what you got for us in highway?
Start out, we're getting started on the community crossing grant for the paving this morning. They're starting on 38th Street or 200 South for the bridge out to 400 East, and then we'll start on Garthwaite Road after that. While I'm discussing this project, Gas City was awarded a portion of their roadway on Garthwaite, but it stopped short of the city limits. They were not funded all the way to the north end of their city limits. So basically in front of EMS, in front of the highway department, will not get paved this year because they didn't get awarded that through the community crossing grant.
A half mile?
Maybe quarter to half mile. So I talked to Brooks, which is doing our community crossing grant, and asked them if they could give me a price to do it, what it'd be unit price. And it's right around $60,000. That's to pave it, stripe it, and everything else that we do. And I talked to the city of Gas City about, I didn't know if they had the funding to do it. I don't think they do this year. So I guess my request would be is if we were allowed to pay for it and then bill them next year for that project. I really don't want to leave that quarter mile not paved. I'll probably get more phone calls on that than anything else in the world, and it's not even ours kind of thing. So I'd like to, with your permission, allow to pave it and pay for it, and then next year bill them. If they have a Board of Finance meeting tonight, So Mr. Klein's going to present it to him, see if they have the funding to pay for it. But if they don't, I'd like to have things in place so we could do this if possible. So,
And I would think, while they got the equipment there,
right,
a lot cheaper than what we would have to go back and pay for
right.
next year.
Yeah.
That's 20 grand.
Yeah, just to
Right. Just-
relocate. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm thinking that if we feel comfortable with this, we would make a motion pending the approval of their finance committee to commit to that repayment. I agree.
And we've done this in the past. We've paid for other municipalities and then they paid us back the following year. I think we did Van Buren once when we were doing one of our roads into their city limits and stuff. So
Get an IOU.
yeah, basically. So
Motion,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and pay $60,000 balance on the Garth Gate Road project, not to exceed 60,000. To go ahead and take care of that with the understanding that we will be paid back next year in 2024.
Is that pending the,
Pending, yes, it will, thank you, pending the approval from the Gas City group tonight.
right, I'll second that motion.
motion with support to approve the expenditure? Any other discussion, other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye.
Yeah, thank you. To update you on a few other projects, Pole Barn Company contacted me this morning about an hour ago. Their plans are to be in next week to fix that. So hopefully we'll get that done next week on the lean tube that got damaged in the storm. So
So do we know if the roof is damaged on the inside yet? We don't know that.
not till they get the old off. So hopefully it's not, but I haven't.
It exceeds our $10,000 deductible, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think, what they estimate at 35 right now, pending further investigation.
And so have we talked to the contractor at all about what responsibility?
Yeah, I really haven't. I've talked to him a little bit about it, but I just really want to get it fixed kind of thing. And
I understand that. I wouldn't mind being in the discussion on that.
yeah, I was gonna say, and I guess I think we got to do is get that old roof off to see how entailed we have to get. Cause I mean, he was giving us a price on doing everything and I really don't know if it's going to take everything or not. So,
I'd be more than happy to meet you out there.
okay, I'll let you know. So I'm hoping first of next week they're there. So, okay. I still haven't been able to do the drainage on the EMS building. We're going to try to get some transit shots today on that, see where we stand on that. So we're still working on that. I guess I got one more thing to bring up, and that's for the Mrs. Deborah Keith, I believe, on Crane Pond. I know you guys we've been working with this issue for probably 2 years now. We've contacted the gas company because there's a 6-inch main pressure gas line that runs out there. And I don't even think she knows about that. That runs basically from the west side of Marion clear out to Chapel, where the church is on Chapel at 325 West, and then goes south to the ethanol or back to 18. Talking to the gas company, basically what they told us would take an act of Congress to move that line. Right now, they said it'd probably be at least a year out for design, and it'd probably take a lot to get it moved. I really, to be honest with you, I don't know of any way to get around it. We talked to them about trying to put tile across it. They're like, no, you're not doing that kind of thing. So we even asked if we put tile across it, build it up 5 feet. They're like, no, you're not putting nothing over our line. So I don't know what to do. I know that design work that she had done, I don't think they even took that factor in, that there was a 6-inch gas line that went down through there. So I really don't know what to do. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, because I thought about calling her and at least telling her, that's what we found out. I know we got permission from the people have the pond on the north side, the fiber optic and the water line. Pretty much those companies said they'd work with us on getting through there, but the gas line, they're pretty much saying, nah, I don't think so. Or at least not for a year or so down the road, kind of thing. So,
As big a pipes as we need, thinking we were talking 18-inch pipes,
mhm.
we can't bore.
No. Well, the problem is there's not enough cover over the gas line if we did put them in there. And that's what they're saying is, even though we did put pipe in there, there wouldn't be very much cover over that gas line.
We cut them straight across the.
Right. Yes. No. So I'm I don't know. Like, yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, like on a bridge project or something like that, that's basically why we do design and get this all taken care of years before we do a bridge project. So it's all relocated and all that, but
We've done everything we can to get the process, but if we're being held up by the gas company, we're at their beck and call right now.
and you remember when we did 600 East, out there by Dunham's, remember that was in an easement and the
Yes.
gas company bought that easement. I think that was like $1 million project at the time it was all said and done, because they owned their own easement. They wanted to go back in their own easement. They wouldn't even use our right of way. So we had to purchase all that. So be really expensive.
So at this point, on that issue, we're just going to have to wait on the gas company to take the next step.
Or are you saying?
I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they'll move it for us, to be honest with you.
So that's gonna get thrown back to the drainage board then and city utilities, and we'll wrestle with it there. I mean, it bounces back to us. That's,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just don't know of any way to do it. I mean, and the bad thing is you can't go any lower or it won't drain into that pond. That's the biggest issue. I mean, if you went below the gas line, then you're gonna be 20 foot below the pond kind of thing. So
water doesn't work that way.
I've never seen it go uphill too good. So, so I'll let you guys think about that, and maybe next meeting, let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, I don't know of anything else to do, to be honest with you.
Appreciate it, David.
Okay.
I think we leave it back on.
Yeah. So, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm probably planning on starting on 500 East next week too, to get rid of that situation. So I'd like to get that done before James Dean weekend thing.
That is rough.
Yeah. So we'll work on that starting Monday. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Under old business, we have nothing being retained right now. I'm ready to go to new business and first Upland STEM Open Area Project. Matt Boss. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How are y'all doing? So I have a few flyers here just to kind of share as well. So yes, Matt Voss with Near Space Education, also Town Councilor of Upland. Wanted to share a little bit about the project that's been going on there the last 5 months, but also just share about Near Space Education as an entity is seeking to do STEM in Grant County and the region, and also the state, as far as how can we bring, inspire, equipped, and also train the next workforce. And so we've been doing that through a lot of different projects and partnering with schools and universities in the area. And also we're trying to do that in our region as well, statewide, through high altitude balloon launches, through space camps, and also with this upcoming eclipse here in 2024 in April. It's going to be a large event that's going to be we're excited about partnering with different groups on. So what I'm here today on, though, is to speak about the open area project. That's a public-private project that we have been working on. It's a $400,000 project that we've raised $315,000 for so far, and we've went ahead and started the project. Upland has not had a downtown town square for a long time. There's been several buildings that have been removed and been sitting there for the last 20 years, and so we've actually renovated it into a STEM park. And so it's been an area that actually we got to use for Labor Day activities. It was a partnership between a lot of different groups. I have letters of support on this park that we've been working on. And so, yeah, we had about 300 to 400 people just starting to use it already as we continue to develop it here. And it's an ongoing development park, I think, even after this initial 3 phases are done. And so we've completed phase 1 and 2 of this park. It will have an amphitheater, a creek in it. That kids will be a splash creek. It's really modeling a Fort Wayne venue that's out there, and then we also had a place for food trucks and other things to kind of be out there. So just a gathering place for everyone in Upland from all different parts, and also the region as well that we really want to attract. Also do it for the STEM part will be an open area for teachers to use it for our space camps. We had students coming from Florida actually all the way up to here to do a space camp. So it was really neat to have that as a balloon launch capability area. So I do have some also letters of support from the community that was requested. This is from the town council. Jonathan Perez signed off on this here, and I sent some of this prior to. And also from the president of Taylor University, Michael Lindsay, Dr. Michael Lindsay's support on the project. Our town Upland, who does a lot of a nonprofit locally that does a lot of the planning for all of the activities in our area, as well as Greater Grant County Chamber of Commerce, just kind of showing this is a regional goal of how can we gather and collaborate with all Grant County in this as well. So just want to share that with you all as well. And so basically we are in 3 phases. We've raised about 315,000 of this. We're looking to fund the last part of this of 85,000 in this private partnership. We're hoping to do a red ribbon cutting here in early October as just a neat event to say thank you to all of our partners in this, contributors. There's kind of done it without everybody being a part of this. And yeah, it's been exciting to see a place, another gathering place in Grant County, hopefully. So, and also as a town square. So this will be also just a PowerPoint slide that was presented prior, just kind of sharing the 3 phases of the project, also showing the plans of the amphitheater, the creek, and also water fixtures that we put into the area. The community garden is also going into there. That will be tied in with the STEM activities. So really a 3 phase, and there's a website called the Tim Boom Project that kind of explains all the different groups that have been involved. The Grant County Foundation, a lot of other groups as well as been contributing to this project. So a lot of great partners in this year. So that's and then lastly, we also see a space is fantastic to have, but you also have to have events planned for it to use it and be participating in it. So we already have 4 space camps planned. The solar eclipse, which I already mentioned, we'll have ribbon cuttings, and then we're tying into already the Upland events like Labor Day that happened this past week. That's why we push hard to open it up already. And how can we tie it in with all the other our town Upland, which was listed in the recommendations to be utilized. So we want to use it for the public. It's not just for near space, but for everyone in the region as well. So that is kind of the last of the material thrown at you guys here. But yeah, so thank you for letting me share about that today, and glad to take any questions on the project as well.
When we initially talked, Matt, we were talking about you were seeking possibly some ARPA funds to make this.
Move it past the. Yeah, so we're getting close to finishing the full funding. Yeah, if there's ARPA funds available for that last phase 3 that we're trying to fully fund, we're trying to find $85,000 to finish this project. And so anything that is contributed or helped in that process would help us bring this project to the next stage where we'll start looking at adding other features. But yeah, we've been thankful for the project. They've been pushing so hard to get it done in one summer. It was 4 months of them working through, and it was a really rapid development. So we'd love to have you guys come to Upland and see that as well, and walk it, and glad to show it as well. So yeah, that would be my request today. Yeah.
We just had this Oprah meeting.
Yes.
Have you went after any Oprah money on this?
I have not gone in after any of that as well. So we have, we're looking for any kind of funding of that. There were some other projects I know that they were starting to think about in Upland that the commissioners were on that, or the commission, the town council guys were thinking about, but that is a possibility too. So we're just,
I think this fits into their Main Street per se areas,
Mhm.
areas that they fund.
yeah,
And I know that time is coming up where you have to submit by October, maybe.
October
something
10th
like that.
coming up. Yep.
You might want to take a look at that real quick as well and see if you might be, I mean, they'll let the bids out in March.
Right.
If it's too late for you or whatever. But state money that's available and,
Yeah. No, and I think that'd be fantastic. And I think they do about 30,000. Is that right for the possible? Well, so we're going to, I'll definitely apply for any grants available for funding for this project.
I
And
can dig into that.
definitely will dig into that. Yeah. Thank you for that recommendation. The facade grant. Got it.
Questions, thoughts?
I mean,
Well.
85,000 is quite a,
Yeah. So
but anything would help, right?
exactly. Yes.
When were you looking to have it completed, fit the phase 3?
The funding, yeah. So we were trying to go ahead and just have it completed by the end of the year. Either way, however, we'll have to do a loan or whatever we can do because it would be additional, like previously said, if they had to bring the equipment back, it'd be additional 20,000. And so we said, let's just get it done, and we'll try to find ways to find it funded. And so they've been flexible on how the payment would work. But the end of this year, we're going to try to have closed out the funding for as our main goal. So we could apply for October for some of that partially to get funded through there. So yeah, any funding would be helpful, but understand, just also wanted to share about what's going on downtown as well, and just what the activities are going on as well there. But
Sure. Just trying to figure out what to do with this. I mean,
The question we have is ARPA money. That's the only place that we could see fit to do that. And when we did a request for Mill Township, it was kind of sent back and said, can't we do something for each local community at a lower amount? And so I don't know if this is what the council was thinking about, or whether they wanted to stick strictly with public safety issues that were partially, they mentioned. And I know Matt wants to continue his momentum, so the challenge is, will you try and take some ARPA money and utilize it for this project, or?
I think it's a worthwhile call. I mean, I'll toss something out as an idea. We're looking for 85,000. What if we came up with 35,000 of that? Let them try to figure out the other 50,000 of it. And then we have until the end of next year to work with our ARPA money. Is that correct?
Into 24.
Into 24.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they were still short some, maybe we could revisit it just a little bit, but I think 35 would be something that we could throw out there. I don't know how the county council would feel about that, but I do think it's a worthwhile project.
appreciate that.
Ended up giving Gas City quite a bit of money. I think, if we could help out Upland, I know Swayze's looking at some things that they're wanting to get done in their downtown Main Street area. These are things that I think we could use those funds for to help out communities, what they're trying to do. And that's a beautiful project.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I think it would qualify under the tourism parameter.
Yes. So, I mean, in a sense, we can move forward if you want to on a motion with ARPA funds, but just realize that it's not committed until
Until the county
council approves that appropriation. That would be my word of caution.
Would you want me to present there? I'd be glad to represent.
I
Or,
think it would be wise.
yeah, be glad to. Yeah.
when it's on their agenda.
When it's on their agenda. Okay. Do that part there. No, thanks well, thank you. That's very generous, and from Upland and Near Space, we appreciate the consideration of that. and understand it's a process there, but thank you so much.
So the chair's clear for a motion on that. I would move that we approve funding $35,000 to the Upland STEM project with the caveat of the county council having to approve those dollars to go towards that project.
I think that covered it. I'll second that motion. Okay. Any other discussion or questions?
So that would be advertised under additional appropriation and then taken to the council.
Same process that we used for, we used for the,
That would be,
We already missed it. Yeah.
first meeting would be.
so it'll be October before we actually get the presented, so.
Okay. Yeah. Understand that. Well, thank you again for your time and yeah, the support of this either way. I appreciate you guys hearing this out.
We still got to vote.
Oh, sorry. I'm moving too fast here. I apologize.
Any other questions, gentlemen? No. All those in favor would say aye. 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 It is carried and we will move it forward. We'll see what happens in October.
Sounds good. Thank you again. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Concurrence Art Festival request. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good to see you guys. It took me and Ryan to replace Layla this morning. So my name's Kayla Johnson. I work for the city of Marion as a neighborhood coordinator. I also work with Layla Price Bodkin, who got us on the agenda this morning, to help our downtown community do a couple different things. So here's a couple of our pieces of materials. There's a fun little magnet, postcard of something we did last year. So yeah, essentially we're here to just ask permission to use the courthouse lawn on the Washington Street side September 15th, and we're going to close down the street from 4 to 10 for an art festival. I asked Ryan Drown here, he's the executive director of Fusion Arts Alliance. I asked him if he would come and join just to explain the festival a little bit more. So I'll pass the mic to him, and I'm here to help too with any questions.
So this is our third annual Arts and Music Festival. We used to host it on the Adams Street side, but we decided to move it on the other side to kind of keep in mind of the businesses that were still open because of us having to close the street at 4 and the bank still being open and whatever else is happening on that street. So we decided to move it across the way where there's not as many businesses. Plus there's our big headliner this year is Woolman, which is a all women's rock group paying tribute to women in rock. So they're been around our community. They were at the county fair this year. Did the Gas City Park and done some other events around the county. So we're excited to have them as our big headliner this year. So yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about the festival. This is our third year to do it. So we're excited to keep it growing. So
There will be arts and crafts vendors on that side of the street, and then we're working with some food trucks. I believe we have committed Imagine Burger and Brew, and they're going to do some burgers and some brews. And then we'll set out some tables and chairs and things like that. They've gone through that whole process with the health department to make sure everything's set up correctly for them.
Last couple of years that we supplied electricity. We have, yeah.
And I've worked with Vince Beniki on that pretty easily.
I'm sorry, you probably said this, but where's it at?
be on Washington Street right next to the courthouse between that strip, between the 218s.
Okay.
And put it on my calendar for September 15th.
15th.
Saturday, I
It's
think.
a Friday. It's a Friday night.
Next Friday.
Send on this.
You're willing to consent, that's good to me. I'm always up for a big festival.
But the courthouse lawn is actually, yeah, the courthouse lawn is we actually use for our headliner the most because I love the backdrop of the courthouse. And once Woolman puts their lights up, it'll look even greater.
The postcard that you got is down an alleyway on the north side, so you can see the courthouse in the background. But we've done this before with congruence, and there's some pretty neat photos of that too. So sorry I didn't bring one today, but you can see obviously in that postcard, the backdrop of the courthouse just looks awesome as like a little concert backdrop. So
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I think our admonition would be to work with Vince on any power issues that you need and are we consenting to this, gentlemen?
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You already have his.
thank you very much. I do. Yeah, I text him often. He's a good neighbor to me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. I hope you have a great time.
Thank you. Health Officer Appointment Recommendation, Tara Street.
Good morning.
Point.
So at the August 28th Health Board meeting, the Health Board voted to unanimously recommend the appointment of Brenda Woods to the position of Grant County Health Officer. In their statement, they said, after careful review of her qualifications and an in-person interview, we are convinced that she's an ideal candidate for this position. They believe her leadership and vision will benefit our community and make much needed improvements in our county's public health status. They ask that you please support her and her initiatives in 2023 and beyond. So I believe, provided you the appointment form if you decide to approve that recommendation. Do you have any questions? Dr. Woods is here if you wanted to.
This is probably the time that I am supposed to give an acknowledgement. I would just let the commissioners know that I've known this particular candidate for pretty much all her life, and that she's my cousin. I've talked with the attorney about the oversight that we have, and direct supervision of this candidate would be by the Board of Health. The commissioners only have a supporting role, so we don't have oversight. Therefore, there's no conflict of interest or any nepotism issue that would be involved. And so I've made that public declaration that I know the candidate, and I've reviewed the statements, and I will probably vote yes in this particular matter. So I've made my disclaimer. So if you have questions that you would like to ask, you go right ahead. Questions?
I don't either. And it'd be great to have a local person. We haven't appreciated the effort that we've had in the department and stuff. I feel being able to continue our ambulance service and the whole department itself by someone stepping up from another county makes a lot of difference. So we want to thank you for that as well. And be thinking enough to provide the services that we have for them. That's about all I have to say.
We did have a question. The recommendation, I think, coming from the Board of Health would be that Dr. Woods starts on the 11th of this month.
That is correct. And that works really well for Dr. Woods as well.
Okay. The thing that the commissioners had discussed would be that there would be a seamless transition with not only the health department, but then there's a relationship with the EMS division. And Dr. Woods is still working on getting a waiver so that she can direct the EMS as well. She would still prefer to start on the 11th, and Dr. Rudolph, is happy to continue with the EMS until the appropriate time that she's not, there's no problem there. Dr. Woods could take over. So that would be, the recommendation is that we go ahead and make a transition date. Dr. Rudolph's last day would be the 10th, and Dr. Woods' first day would be the 11th.
Correct. As health officer.
As health officer, yes. And I think the requirement for the commissioner is that we either approve or veto the recommendation.
Correct.
That's what we need to do this morning.
You're ready for a motion? I'll make a motion that we approve the health board's recommendation. I'm sorry, Dr. Woods is point. I said that.
Starting on September the 11th.
Starting on September 11th. Yep.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. Any further discussion or questions?
I would like to thank Dr. Rudolph also for stepping up at a time when he critically needs somebody. We really appreciate that, sir.
Right, all those in favor would say aye. Aye. Aye.
If I could have a few more minutes to read a statement. Dr. Rudolph, the Grant County Health Board, along with the staff of the Grant County Health Department, would like to express their sincere appreciation for your willingness to act as interim Grant County Health Officer. Your kind and public-spirited act provided the opportunity for this board to seek out a qualified candidate to serve our community, while also allowing our health department to continue serving our citizens without interruption. To quote Fred Rogers, "We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say it's not my child, not my community, not my world, not my problem. Then there are those who see the need and respond. I consider those people my heroes. Thank you for being our hero, Dr. Rudolph."
On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, you've heard us all say thank you, Dr. Rudolph. We greatly appreciate you stepping up in a very uncomfortable, critical time in the life of the county, and we appreciate it so much. And if we can do anything to help out Miami County in the future, we certainly will. Dr. Woods, welcome. Welcome. Okay. EMS position recommendations.
Thank you, gentlemen. Couple things, I'm not real sure really as to how we'll proceed on this. I do want to give you an update on the fire out there. We've had 3 sets of inspectors and adjusters out there, and they actually couldn't even finish on Friday, so they should be back out there today.
They are out there today, right now.
They are back today. They've actually done a electronic laser scoping of the whole building. They advised us that in their opinion, they would now bring a content crew in that actually will itemize everything. They will even count items in each of the box. They did say the building is totally reusable. So take that for whatever it is. He said I said, you gotta be joking. How are they gonna collect? He said, you wouldn't believe it. They come in and they would bring a team in. And now that's from the insurance company. So they said they will wipe everything down, ever clean. Contents, all of the papers in the north wing are probably intact. The supplies, because they are medical supplies, that gets pretty ouchy, of being able to use it. And they said that most likely the insurance adjusters would not allow you to use any of those supplies. They're pretty, and that's our latest update.
Yeah, we're very limited as to what else we can take out of there. We've taken enough to work. And in an emergency situation, we have went back to the North Hall
Right.
to get a couple things this weekend, but in a box, wrapped up, not a big deal. We're not using anything in that main hallway as far as, because it got hit quite a bit more with the soot. It's tricky. We've also done some emergency orders, which they were very gracious and get it to us the next day. And so many people have reached out. Able Ambulance have donated supplies. Marion General calls us almost every day to see if there's anything we need. So a lot of people have reached out. Lutheran, that's right.
Hospital has also
Mhm.
opened up any supplies we need. They will run them down immediately. So that's kind of the update on the building out there. Of course, we can't get into the other building until the internet and phones are out there. I did give you a copy of what we discovered. I didn't have it. Bobby was able to find it. of the occupancy, we also were informed that we really are not supposed to be doing any construction out there without permits. However, one of the walls is already down.
That break room, kitchen wall.
With that, so the occupancy that we got actually, which I was not aware of either, we really was only for supplies and garage and motors and not occupancy. In fact, we were even told that to put an office staff out there, you can't have metal walls, you've got to have drywall behind the metal wall.
Interesting.
So anyway, so that's kind of the update, and we're right here behind there, camped out. And everybody in the building has been most gracious, letting us use their copy machines and fax machines.
And shredders.
And shredders and the whole thing, so they really have
Yep.
made it as seamless as possible. So we're all huddled in that building, or in that room. We appreciate that.
So kind of help me understand. Without having an occupancy rate on the new building. We cannot move that location.
I suppose that would be a question for the state. The Gas City inspected it, but they don't have an inspector, so they use the state inspector. That's who did it, and that's who rated it that way. And it's because of lack of drywall.
So building, it sounds, your existing building sounds like it could be repaired.
That's a preliminary suggestion
what
from the structure adjuster.
Well, he was talking about, a very substantial building as such. And that was only his opinion. He said, whatever. But
How does that sit with you guys? I mean, is that something that you want to do? What? I
No.
guess I'm looking for recommendations.
We don't care, Steve.
we have,
We would have been moved in the new building 3 years ago if we'd had phones and internet, so it would have been a moot point. So we don't care. We'll go wherever you want us to go.
We.
It just has to be valid.
With the fire marshal issue, yes, on drywall, and Bob Jackson's probably our go-to on that.
well, you might speak with Brian. Well, the county,
Correct, area
you know,
plan.
even though, because that's in Gas City. Then we also, in the process, the Electric Plus that came out to, because what was put in there was 200 amps to that building. However, that 200 amps is shared 3 ways. And so there's not enough amperage to run everything that we would move out there. And so that's why they had Electric Plus come out and check to see what it would take another 200 amp box to actually run the morgue and to run the appliances that would be out there. However, the Electric Plus guy that we've used before said he didn't want to work on that building yet because there's a wire that goes to the security lights. It's laying on the roof.
It was previous to that building being built, so it ran from towards the highway department, from a pole from the highway department running to our parking lot. And then they built the buildings. No, they built the building under it. And so now it's
It
resting
just
on.
lays on the roof, and he said the wind blowing the last 3 years, it's going to electrify that building.
So that's gonna have to be raised too. It's a calamity of errors. Yeah.
You got it lifted though, right?
Well, I got a hold of Gas City and they were looking at their utilities, because it is their utility that comes across.
The parking part is, yeah.
Raising it, or putting a yellow insulating that they put under, can put
If that
underneath
would
them.
be temporary, the pad, or forever, or,
That's what I would recommend.
Well,
right,
that's,
right,
That would be a temporary fix.
and then raise it.
Get your electrician in there, things like that, but really it needs to either be routed, ran underground, whatever it needs to do, to get that off that building, and really, the building should never be built underneath it like that. So again, I go back to say,
I mean,
contractors that I think we use sometimes are not looking out for our residents. I'm struggling with that, really, with a couple of things that we got. I mean, the elevation,
That's why you have a water issue as well.
elevation. I mean, there's so much problems out there that it kind of makes my blood boil just a little bit. And we're paying out good money, and are we cutting corners by saying, okay, we're only going to put this much office space out there because you don't have to have a state inspection for that? So that's my understanding, is probably what was done.
That's what he said, yeah.
And I've just got a lot of problems. And 100-amp service for that building, and you're putting a morgue in there? I mean, I'm just really struggling. And again, on our part, I think we got some responsibility on this as well. How well are we looking at those prints to make sure we're getting what we need?
the thing that frustrates me is that we really weren't involved in that. However, when they were out there and he was doing the concrete or in the building over there, I said, Terry, that's below grade. Well, that's blah, blah, blah. That's a drive through, the water will go through there. Following that, we were in a meeting at IT in which he called and he said, that bald old man over there doesn't have a dog in this fight. He said,
Talking about him.
yeah, so
That's his.
he didn't realize it was on a conference call and we were, of course, chuckling all the way. So I've become the bald old man. But nevertheless.
But you have to know the fight.
Yeah, whatever.
We kind of
It's
felt
still
that.
be 17 grand just to fix that electrical.
And Justin, though, that includes all the changes we had too.
Yes,
The
it does.
220, he said the refrigerator needs to have its own circuit, which we know that, the other stuff, but
It still doesn't fix our problem with the drywall.
it does not.
I mean,
I'm not an inspector. I'm really not aware. That was just brought to our attention. It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't have drywall behind it. You can't put people in with a metal building, it's a fire code. So
That just,
I know.
mine's boggling because we had a state inspector in there and don't know what we're doing. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, Terry's plan said PPE storage on our port and our part. So that's what he was told. It was for storage. On the office part that we're to move into, it said PPE storage. It did not say office. So in his behalf, he wouldn't have known any better. He said, well, it's fine because it's for storage. Now, I think Bobby may have those plans as
the
well.
question is it progressed?
Correct.
Did-
The state person did not. No.
No, the
The-
state, did, but your builder.
Well,
He
Well, he-
was supposed to know, but he also told us we needed to move to the bank building on the first floor.
but
He said you need to go out and pick what area you want because I actually even put signs on some doors and said, I'm claiming this area because he wanted me to.
well,
Yeah.
he built a kitchen for people and he built an ADA compliant bathroom. So he was very much
I
aware.
feel like
and
he knew.
Yeah, he's very much aware that
Like I said,
we were going to be,
struggling.
Mhm.
on behalf of the state inspector, he really helped out a little bit because in the wintertime, that was in 2000, he came out there and he said, Dwayne, I need to see the building. And I said, okay, I said, I really don't know, but I'll show you where it's at. And he said, well, I'm here to issue them a permit to put concrete down the pad. And I said, I hate to tell you that, but they poured that months ago. And so it was even poured without a permit. So it is what it is. We will make do with whatever.
And I guess that's what I'm asking at this point. I mean, where do we go? Do we fix up the building so you get back into that money into the new building? rip off all the metal so we can put drywall behind it, if that's what the state requires. If we do, definitely want to get a state inspector there, make sure everything else is okay.
Mhm.
We upgrade the electrical to, from 100 amp to at least 200 amp with what all you guys got going on in there. And fix a wire that the should have never been built. Because Gas City's not going to do that for free, and I don't blame them. Because they got to pass that on to the ratepayer.
Well, and the problem is of where that's at. When we moved out there in 2006, after it was closed, Larry Leach was the mayor of Gas City. I approached Larry because we realized then our utilities, the water and the sewer on Gas City Utilities, the electric was AEP or I&M. So Larry said, well, we'll get that changed and we would prefer that because if there's an electrical problem, even though it's AEP, the Gas City Utilities will be there in 15 minutes. Whereas if it's AEP or I&M, it may be 3 hours or by day, and they've got many more customers. I understand that. However, they, AEP or an I&M, whatever it is, wouldn't give it up, wouldn't give that facility up. They wanted $10,000 and 6 months of monthly in order for Gas City Utilities. Well, we weren't going to pay that or at the time, and nor was Gas City. However, Electric Plus did say that the electricity to the fire side, the fire building and the EMS building, that electricity actually runs out of the Garthwaite building.
The old one.
It all runs out of there. He said because that electric will stay with Garthwaite, that actually, since your water utilities and city utilities and sewer, you could actually put that new building, the fire side, as well as that you do pay for that, as well as the EMS side on Gas City Utilities. Because I&M is not giving up anything. They still get the electricity to that building and to that. A lot of that, we just got involved to find out, And I'm sure Mr. Mulot probably, which is the county inspector, but that's in Gas City, he probably would have more advice as to office building or what. So that's kind of the update. And we'll do whatever. We've been in the basement, we've been in the Iroquois building, we've been in your
Sixth
area,
floor.
6th floor up there, and we'll function. And things are really working out pretty well as far as that. And our run volume is going straight through the roof. And I think, now, the other item on there that I don't know how I plan to retire. Actually, I had an appointment in Indianapolis on the Tuesday following the Monday night fire. And I thought that was a sign from the good Lord. It's like, it ain't time yet. So it looks like, and I still have to go down there because of the arrangements we have that I will finish this year. And so Dawn has, so tentatively, and I haven't talked to Justin earlier, and he, 30 days notice I will give you, but officially it will most likely be at the end of the year as far as the state is concerned. So Dawn has, hopefully that you will appoint Dawn as an interim. She's been with us since 2000.
I've been with you since 2000. I've been with the county since 95.
Right. And so as I talked with Mark before, we really would like to kind of switch duties at this point. She does it all anyway now. Come on. I'm smart enough to figure out what it is. And so by eliminating one position, and she can explain it, I don't know whether you want to do it now or later. I'll let her explain what she has envisioned if you choose to point her.
The way we turn the budget in would basically be eliminating my current position as a billing administrator.
And there wouldn't be any room for me, so I have to go out.
There's no room for him. I don't plan on giving up maybe but 10% of what I do now. If I'm the director, I will assume his duties and keep about 90% of what I do now. So I felt it appropriate to get rid of my current position. And we already have a part-time person that we're training to come in, that the council has allowed us to be full-time next year. So I kind of took his salary, my salary, and the current full-time person and kind of scrambled them together to make a more appropriate salary and job duties, because I'm just rearranging the whole thing.
24 budget.
It is, yeah. She's the part-timer is currently working. They gave us 6 months to get her trained. Now she still won't be certified till next year because the certification class isn't till like March or April, but we can live with that. But just not have my position anymore because I'm not comfortable giving up the financial side of it, to be honest with you. I want to do that part.
We discussed this with HR, any problems there?
No problems there. They discussed this obviously at hearing time.
We did.
With the council, so I wanted to make sure this conversation happened just because that's an appointed position.
So they're giving us plenty of time to sort of position and how we proceed in 24. Is that fair?
Yeah, and it could make a huge difference too, as to what we planned. We'll need to know if it's not gonna be me, we've got to make some serious changes in our budget because we made major changes. I don't know, I mean, yeah, they were major. So, yeah, we'd need to know. Otherwise, we're always right here, so it's kind of cool being back here, to be honest with you. It's very convenient.
Probably to his chagrin.
Yeah.
Because we can run right up there immediately instead of.
Right here.
Right
They're right
there.
back here.
Office. Now, I was gonna point that out. The supervisors for the trucks are in that building. They're set up, their desks, that one side you guys all saw, they're in there. I personally don't think there's a necessary danger. I feel better if that pad was on there. I'd feel a lot better if that pad was on there, even though it's temporary.
The original structure was being used prior to where the folks are on the north side of that building. Is that right?
No, you're talking about the wire that's on the building. It's on the new part, clear at the far south end.
They've been in there even before.
Bobby's side, the fire side.
I thought
What
they-
do you mean?
Yes, the new building went up, yeah.
So to let the gas and utilities know that they need to.
Yes, they came out there the day Tony saw that from Electric Plus.
respond together to the-
I'm not sure. I haven't talked.
We're
with Nick.
probably going out. I didn't know I didn't know the adjuster was there again today. Okay.
That way.
We did meet the general adjuster, Luke. He's been very helpful. I didn't know they were, but I didn't know they didn't get done Friday either. And that's a big building to map out.
Well, they were totally blown away by the size of the building.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable. While we're here, Angie, on the positions of the supervisors, we wanted to make that an hourly position. You just do that? Is that the council?
The council would have to make a salary ordinance.
Okay.
We will.
I think that'll solve all of our problems. Just make them hourly. Okay. We have really been a thorn in you guys' side lately, haven't we?
Yeah.
I can think of respect.
It was through no fault of our own.
That's right. Now, see, we can just exit right.
Yeah, I gotta get my.
Yeah, right, yeah. Ron's real, you know, real close, we can throw things at us from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're right here.
All right, let's go to the whistleblower protection policy.
So this was drafted by the county attorney. It basically is under United States Code 4712, providing protection for any employee that reports abuse as far as federal grants or funding is concerned. It protects them from employees will not be discharged, demoted, or discriminated against as reprisal for disclosing or reporting any of the following. Gives certain examples and then talks about who they can report that to as well. So this just needs basically adopted as policy and inserted into our handbook.
You had anything like this in our handbook before?
No. It came about as a requirement to apply for a grant
Okay.
as far as detectives were concerned.
So basically, that'll clear us with other future federal grants by making sure that we have this as policy.
Need a motion for that.
We would need a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the employee whistleblower protection policy, the employee whistleblower protection
It would be a policy.
policy.
Yeah, it would be a policy. I'll second that. All right, any other discussion on that? Sir? Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Right, aye, and we've got that covered. Are you aware of other new business, gentlemen? Right.
I will share just a real quick information about a meeting that we had with a guy named Denny Spinner, who is the executive director of Oprah. He came up and talked to 52 of what I would consider community leaders. From everything, Swayze was there, Van Buren was there, Marion was there, Kansas City was there. We had a good contingency of people, and there was a lot of state dollars that are available that I don't think, especially our smaller communities, know is available. And so what it did, it opened up their eye to a degree of what they might be able to do, just like Mr. Boss coming in and things. So I think there's going to be a lot of spend from that meeting. There's already talk about getting a gentleman by the name of Garrett. I apologize, I don't know his last name, but he is the regional guy for Oprah. And so I think what we're going to do is going to round robin between communities, taking him around and letting them talk about their specific wants and desires for their community. And all that's to grow the council. So appreciate them stepping up to the plate, making this happen. Like I said, 52 representatives were there, and Mr. Spinner did an awesome job. And then what he saw was the collaboration between the communities to say, we want to participate. And so I'm kind of excited about it. I think it can show us some economic development and economic growth in our community. And hopefully we'll see some residual out of that in the future. So just want to mention that.
Okay. Anything else from commissioners? Right? We will go to public comments. At this time, the public is invited to speak before the board. Please approach the board podium when recognized by the president. State your name, address, concerns, or comments. No complaints, accusations, or name calling regarding personnel can be allowed during the public discussion time. Time limit of 3 minutes will be given. If more than one person who is representing a group, only one spokesperson will be heard. It is expected that professionalism and courtesy is displayed at all times during public comment portion of the meeting. Checking first on WebEx, any comments, concerns, public-wise? Seeing, hearing none.
Hi.
Recognize Randy.
Yeah, Randy Atkins, 8560 South Wheeling Pike Fairmount. On a positive note, I want to thank you guys for your support of the STEM project there at Upland. As a Upland community resident, it's definitely been a facelift, for that part of the town. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Matt as well, but he's taken off. I guess the second concern I've got is the jail's created quite a bit of media attention here. And as a past building and grounds director for Eastbrook Community Schools, our goal was to, stay ahead of maintenance rather than fall behind maintenance. I guess I would just like to have maybe some feedback as to how the jail has gotten to the condition that it's in and what kind of a maintenance program, that we have in Grant County in order to sustain it as a reasonable facility for our inmates.
I think that's a fair question. I think that's been part of the discussion for quite some time. And I probably only dust across highlights of it. We're trying to look at a building that is 30 and 40 years old that has been used 24/7. And while we have been patching certain things and getting certain things like the brand new generator, thank you, it took me a while. The generator, that was a part of the continuing to keep this building on life support, keeping it going. As well, we've done exterior work, but framing the conditions inside the building, some of the infrastructure is actually rusting and deteriorating to a point that we cannot maintain that any further. We are behind with ADA compliance issues. Again, this was built in the 80s and the ADA wasn't even thought of. We cannot maintain the medical conditions. We have to literally, I should say, the sheriff has to supply medical support for any inmate that is in there. We, on a daily basis, dispense medications and other things that are required. And if we can't do it there, then we have to take them under guard to a hospital. And I know that's outside of the maintenance structure, but that's part of what we can't keep up with in the old building because of logistics. And so we've got medical, we've got ADA, we've got literally some of the steel structure that is rusting away. Doors can't even sometimes be open on the first pull. They are that warped and you literally have to pull 3 times after electronic lock has been released so that you can, and so maintenance wise, you can work on it so long, but after a period of time, an old structure is going to be an old structure that has to be replaced.
Sure. Plumbing and so forth, is that of the same age as the rest of the building here?
It's been done in segments. I want to say in 2012 or 13, right in there, we started energy issues in which lighting and some of the plumbing was rehab. Certain sections were, not the entire structure. And so we are literally still rolling forward, but having to pick up and I use the term patch and spin, fix it, that little segment to keep it going. And eventually it just comes to the point where we've got to say, it's time to stop spending on the old stuff, which we know is being targeted as this is not an acceptable jail. We step to go to a new.
Okay, I guess the second question I have, has there been consideration of alternative programming to reduce the placement of the less offensive criminals rather than them become inmates, house arrest? Are there other programs that we've considered to avoid the overcrowded situation that we face?
We'll take that one. Sure, go ahead. Thank you for your questions, Greg. Let me back up to the maintenance and then I'll come to that one, okay? Coming out of the GM world, maintenance space, and you're spot on. We have not had a maintenance program that we need to have. We really haven't. Hard to do with one maintenance guy and a couple other guys. I mean, have our maintenance?
3.
And we just got one, but not too long ago, right?
Yeah, he's fairly new.
So we don't have the staff to do the maintenance that really needs to be done. And again, it's a funding issue. It really is. When it comes to maintenance on our buildings, you got to have people to do the maintenance.
We subcontracted that out in the school system.
Okay, and so looking at what we've got going on is something that didn't happen overnight. This has been going on for a number of years. And I too want to come up with a great maintenance program. Whether we keep this building or go to another building, we've got to do something when it comes to maintenance, or we're going to be in this trouble again.
Holes are hard to get out of.
That's right. And so I'm 100% with you on that comment that we've got to do that. But it takes more than one guy really doing the maintenance and the two other guys kind of being directed to do what they need to do. So that's a continuing. When it comes to the question that you asked, it was about
Programs for alternative placement of inmates.
so another funding issue when it comes to funding. We are I believe we're still 2 deputy prosecutors short, right? And so, and the reason being is that after they get the law degree, they got $200,000 or $300,000 worth of student debt. They're coming into a $68,000 a year job. Is that what it is?
I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not sure. Do you remember?
65 maybe.
It's
I mean, it's a funding issue. And to get people into those positions, we've got to fund. So we run them through there. And I think there's a situation also with the public defendership. Where I don't know if we're paying them enough. I think that's an issue. Continuances seem to happen a lot. And so my understanding from the sheriff, I believe, I think we've got somewhere around 80% of the people in jail waiting trial. 80%.
Is there a way to alter the bail in allowing them to not necessarily be placed as inmates, but to be on bail waiting for trial since we have a backlog?
And I think that is entirely up to the judicial system, not us as a commission.
Okay.
I mean, there's a fine line that we walk as commissioners of what we can actually recommend to the judges, because the judges are an elected official. And so we can't tell them what to do, by no means. All we can say is that I really believe in order to get the people we need, we got to come up with a funding to get them. And we're not doing that. So that's a concern of mine that I think needs to be really out there to say, okay, can we lower? Because again, overcrowding is a situation that's really going to come back and bite us soon if we don't do something, whether the ACLU or another person or whatever. Susan, and then the state's going to get involved, or the feds are going to get involved and tell us what we got to build.
So how does the public have communication with the judicial system at our local level?
Great question.
That is a great question.
We don't have, right?
As a general rule, judicial is a separate, part of the moving of government, legislative, executive, judicial, and never the twain shall meet, or thrice shall meet. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great questions. Thanks for letting us address it.
I would say again, Randy, one of the parts of the question you asked about programming, we actually do have pre-release type of programs. We have the drug court. They are doing their very best to release early. There are times where the officers literally bring someone in, and before they've got the paperwork done, they've been ordered and released already. So it's the judicial and the probation, they are working. And our home detention program is, I think it's at capacity as it is right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to hear about the drug court. I know Madison Grant publicizes, or not Madison Grant, Madison County publicizes that, has great success with that. So I'm glad we're doing that here. Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else this morning? All right. What is our next meeting date? Be back on Monday. Is that the
no, I believe that is Martin Luther King Day. Is that correct?
Is that right? That's in January.
Is it? There's something on that day. Statute. Maybe I'm wrong.
We've got Columbus Day next month, but I don't remember it.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't recall any holidays coming up.
Yeah, I think we're back on the 18th.
Okay, 18th. Very good. We will, be in recess until September the 18th, 10 a.m.